Lieutenant Signorelli.
Yes, sir.
How you doing? Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. So I read your complaint against Detective Richardi, and then I listened to the recording, and I just wanted to discuss this with you a little bit if you have a couple minutes.
Absolutely.
So, as far as your complaint against her, when I was listening to it, I think more of what it is, you're saying misleading information. I think that comes back on me a little bit, because I think if you would go back and listen to the call again, because I know you have it as well.
I listened to the call, Lieutenant.
I think she was confused. So she's used to accepting internal affairs complaints. You were calling about criminal complaints. So you were talking about one thing. She was talking about another thing.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, Lieutenant, and I appreciate your determined efforts here, and I understand that you're looking to clarify based on your authority and your responsibility. I get that now, and I got that when we were talking in Hudson County Prosecutor's Office, or at least outside of the office. But let me make one thing clear, Lieutenant. The recording that you're speaking about, and that my understanding is for the 9 minutes, was on January 29th. If you want to send me the recording for February 5th as well, then maybe we can relay back another conversation and have a bigger bird's eye view, which will have better indicators here. Because here's what's going on, Lieutenant, and I understand that you're looking to smooth out the wrinkles for Detective Richardi. Because I think at this point, you and I both know Detective Richardi is receiving orders from the higher chain, correct?
Absolutely.
And that's the problem. That's the problem.
In the call, she would put you on hold to come discuss with us, and we were handling other matters. I couldn't get on the phone at that moment.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, Lieutenant.
Here's my thing, honestly. I don't think it's fair that this is on her, because.
Well, here's the thing, though. We really, listen. You're a gentleman, and I appreciate that. And I know by now, you if you've done your homework on me at least, you know that I'm a gentleman and that I'm here to do my job as well. If we're going to talk about fairness, Lieutenant, this is going to be a long discussion, and I don't think you have the time for that. If we're going to talk about justice, it's going to be an even longer discussion. But like you said when we spoke yesterday, whenever I was at the prosecutor's office, certain literature and certain subject matter is within your ballpark and isn't within your ballpark. So, that being said, I understand the purpose behind your phone call. And if you and I were to sit down face to face and both confirm that XYZ may be Detective Richardi's responsibility, and then ABC probably isn't Detective Richardi's responsibility, at the end of the day, whatever order she's receiving, whatever guidance she's receiving that determined her lack thereof over the phone, may or may not be her fault. So whose fault is it, Lieutenant?
Well, I'm telling you that. I'm telling you that it was, if anything, the fault there is mine, because I was occupied with other tasks, and she wasn't informed you were calling about a criminal complaint. So the whole conversation, she's thinking it's on a file an internal affairs complaint. That was some of the confusion and the misleading information that you were.
I understand. Listen, you know what the real problem here is? The collateral damage. That's the real problem. Because I'm going to tell you something. I did some homework since our, which was a great discussion. You made a great impression on me, Lieutenant Signorelli. It's going to show in the video. But my point is this. I have a big bone to pick with Stephen Harbase and Esther Suarez, because now it's not only one occasion, it's two. And I know you're going to sit there and tell me, Lieutenant, it's not your ballpark. I get that. But, here we have collateral damage, right? Because you're concerned not only about the department and your word and, your jurisdiction or whatever. You're also, you feel at fault for Detective Richardi. But look at it from my standpoint, Lieutenant, because no justice has been served here. And this is just for the Ramirez incident as well as the West New York Police Department officer. You don't know what I had to deal with West New York's Detective Bureau. That's a whole other can of worms. So I was really gung-ho. I was really hoping that my initial contact with Hudson County Prosecutor's Office, I thought that was the horizon. I thought that was driving into the sunset. Little did I find out, it took multiple phone calls, multiple notes that I had to make previous to these phone calls, multiple emails. I had to go there in person. And luckily, when I went there in person, I was serviced. So here we have, Lieutenant, unfortunately, collateral damage with no other real alternative, sir. There's no other real alternative.
Like I told you when you were here, I'm objective with these investigations. If I listen to that 10-minute call and she was rude to you or, did something inappropriate, I would hold her accountable. That's my job.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
No, I understand, but just to keep the calculations and the mathematics simple, the office of the prosecutor does not, as far as internal affairs is concerned, does not relay the necessary information. We're talking about basic contact information. We're talking about, emails, names of sergeants, lieutenants, captains, the spelling of those names, and this is basic stuff.
Well, at the end of the call, she spelled all of our names to you.
Yeah, but that's only because I had to reinforce the communication. I had to make it known that I need the necessity for that information. When in actuality, Lieutenant, it should be, sir, do you need contact information? Would you like to speak with a lieutenant or a sergeant? Do you know the email, sir? What do you have any other concerns, sir? But what do I get, Lieutenant? I get someone, and no prejudice, no discrimination against Detective Ricciardi. I'm sure she's a very nice woman, okay? But because of influences in the office or because of protocol, I have someone on the phone that's rushing me off the phone, that anytime I have an inquiry that is based on a legal concern that hasn't been met in 120 days, I have to fight tooth and nail. That's not the way things are done, Lieutenant.
Well, remember also, you had asked for a supervisor. So at that point, she thinks that, you're not going to speak with me, so she can end the call. I mean,
I know, but listen, look, I did what I had to do, right? I emailed. Did I hear back from anyone in the email? I did not. And the reason why I addressed the captain is because if I address a sergeant, the sergeant is going to consider it. This is in my experience. You're probably going to disagree with this, but if I address it to a sergeant, because they're in the middle of the hierarchy, they're going to say, it's the least importance. But if I address a captain, he can at least bring it down to the lieutenant or the sergeant. This is how it's worked in my experience. I heard back from no one. So what did I do?
Because I brought that up today. Nobody received the email.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, I don't know what to tell you. You're going to have to speak to the IT guy, because I can show you the email. I can show you the times and all that. And also, when I showed up to Hudson County Prosecutor's office, the building, I've never been there before. So I'm showing up unannounced. I had to explain why I didn't have an appointment. Luckily, because my name was recognized, because, as you said, the online presence, and because Stephen Harbase is already, marginalized and brought down the ordinances of two separate cases, one for a drug dealer that everybody knows is a drug dealer, and one for a corrupt cop that tried to incriminate me and put me in jail. So when I show up to 595 Newark Avenue for the first time, I'm going in there. I don't know what to expect. Luckily, because of my determined efforts, because of dealing with the sergeant downstairs with the recording, after dealing with Detective Ricciardi, after not hearing back from the email, after 120, this is just Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. You don't know what I've been dealing with the other police departments. I have 17 arrests, Lieutenant, 16 complaints, and the penalty against Chris Carolaro. And I'm telling you right now, Lieutenant, my stats would be a lot higher. And I think you and I both know why my stats aren't higher. I think you and I both know that by now. So what I'm saying is this. I went in there on a mission that shouldn't have been so complicated and difficult. But all that being said, I conducted myself as a gentleman, as did you. Unfortunately, now we have collateral damage, and it has to go on record. It really does, because at this point, I'm not being serviced. How have I been serviced regarding Carolaro, who happens to live on my block? How have I been serviced regarding Ryan F. Ramirez, who has been threatening me of my life for over 6 months now, who I have filed, he has nine charges against him between West New York, Union City. So trust me, Lieutenant. I'm doing the best that I can here. I really am. So
no, I hear you. No, I empathize with what you're going through. Just understand what I was saying before, and you said it a couple times in this conversation. I'm calling regarding the complaint against Detective Ricciardi. That's the internal affairs complaint I have sitting in front of me. So, although I empathize with all your issues, I can't speak to them.
Right, but all those other issues are relevant because all those other issues, there's a pattern here. The pattern that has coincided with all those other issues are the same patterns that now I'm dealing with Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. And now because I'm filing a complaint, I have a lieutenant that I can see is trying to do his job. I get that. But I don't think the lieutenant is understanding that the problem isn't just Detective Ricciardi. The problem is the office. The problem is these police agencies. The problem is the way government deals with its citizens. And unfortunately, now you're dealing with not just any citizen, right? Now you're dealing with somebody that knows his stuff and that is willing to take it to whatever measures is necessary. And unfortunately now I got to pay out of pocket for legal counsel.
Understood. And maybe legal counsel will tell you something that that helps your case. But again, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't speak to AP Harvey's decisions or a letter or anything of that. I'd be speaking out of turn if I tried to give you some.
I mean, I get it, but you saw for yourself the gentleman mixed up two different cases. And then that's confusing for you because then the information that you're getting that's trickling down isn't even accurate.
All right. Okay, so let's just make sure we're on the same page here. You're more comfortable with this complaint? We're not coming to any kind of informal resolution or anything like that?
No, the complaint's going through.
Okay. All right, let me look for that other call, and I'll be in contact with you, all right? So there's no reason for the attorneys not to send them.
2 letters weren't received. That right there is the truth. Those 2 letters were based on a corrupt West New York Police Department officer and a drug dealer worth, well, I mean, we could talk gross domestic product and, the street values of cocaine all night long. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm going to give you a number. Ryan F. Ramirez is worth at least $1 million. And you know why that is, Lieutenant? Because I have him on footage. I've investigated him. I've seen him. And I know about the street. I've been to Colombia. Trust me, I have cousins that are married into the business. I know this stuff. This is why I do this stuff. He's moving easily in the summers when it's busy, between 5 and 8 kilos, uncut. He doesn't, listen, this is all this guy does. He doesn't have a car. He doesn't have a car. He doesn't have a passport. He doesn't go anywhere. This is all he does.
Are you speculating that because of who he is, the letter didn't go out?
Well, hold on. See, now you just went from Z all the way to A. I mean, if we're going to get into the intricacies, then what I'm saying is this. I'm not making any bold statements here. I'm just reiterating the facts. Facts is a suspected cocaine dealer that I have on video exchanging a white square-shaped object with an 11 and 15-year-old at the swim club where there's no cameras, so you probably haven't investigated the case, is the same suspected West New York cocaine dealer who beat a mutual friend over the head with a bat for aggravated assault charges that West New York Police Department never placed. They never put the charges through because of wordplay. That same suspected West New York cocaine dealer has been coming after me. I have him on video threatening to kill me in front of officers. They never put in the report. Somehow, that letter didn't come to me. Somehow, those indictable charges were dropped down. Somehow, it took over 3 months just for me to get West New York Police Department's body-worn cameras. And finally, when I looked through the body-worn cameras, guess what happened, Lieutenant? They muted most of the most important clippings. They muted them. They even muted the part where Ryan F. Ramirez is saying, get Captain White from Weehawken Police Department. He's got my back. All of the work that I've been doing the last 7 months, it looks so bad for West New York, Gutenberg, Union City, Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. It looks so bad for you guys that by now I really thought the games would have stopped because I've been such a gentleman and I've been so accurate with everything I've been saying. For crying out loud, I've been calling arrests 24 hours before they happen. For crying out loud, I have a months-long interview process. I have evidence of it with the federal government. I have family members that have worked for the federal government. If you're asking me if I'm saying the letter wasn't sent to protect a drug dealer, that's exactly what I'm saying.